And in the later years, she had an aide. And this aide, his name was Chesed Halberstam. Again, this was, when Rebbetzin passed away, she was in her late 80s. And physically, there were a lot of things she wasn't able to do. So there was someone, he was an attendant in the house. And the Rebbe encouraged him, this attendant, to take the Rebbetzin out. So she should get out of the house and get some fresh air. So every once in a while, they would go to a park in Long Island where she would go and she would walk a little and sit a little. And one time, they're on their way back from Long Island. So this is the story that was said over by this Rabbi Halberstam. He said over the story after the Rebbetzin passed away. On the way back home. And a road was blocked. So there was a detour. They had to go a different way than the way they usually go. And they're driving down the street of this, again, of a road which is not their usual route. And they see that there's a truck in front of a house, in front of an apartment building. And next to the truck, there's a lady who's crying. And she's screaming in Russian and crying. Anyways, he kept on driving, but when they got down to the block, the Rebbetzin told him, turn around. Turn around. They took and the Rebbetzin told him, says, I want you to go find out from that lady, find out what's going on, why... She's crying. So he went, he found out, and he came back and said that this lady, she's being evicted from her apartment because she hadn't paid Russian lady. I think it was a Jewish lady, if I remember correctly, but she's being evicted from her home because she hadn't paid rent in many months. So the Rebbetzin said, there's a marshal over there. In other words, when you evict someone, there's the marshal is there to oversee it. Go ask the marshal how much this lady owes. He goes, comes back, and the marshal said she owes $7,000 in rent, which is a considerable amount of money, and especially we're talking at least 35 years ago, which was even more considerable. So the Rebbe says, go back out and ask, and if I pay it, will he take a personal check? And if yeah, can the workers who are currently taking the movers, can they bring everything back in? So he comes back and says, yeah, the guy says, as long as he can call your bank and confirm that there are funds over there, and yes, he'll have the workers take everything in. He says he couldn't believe it. The Rebbetzin took out a check, her checkbook, wrote out a check for $7,000, gave it. He went, and immediately the Rebbetzin says, let's leave right away. In other words, she didn't want that lady even to realize what happened. And he gave the money, and they left. And as they're continuing on their journey, I don't remember whether Rabbi Halberstam asked her, why did you, this is an incredible act to do, or did she explain it by herself? She says she remembers that when she was a child once, her father, who was the Frierdiker Rebbe, once told her about the idea of Hashgacha Pratis. And how when something unusual happens, you have to stop and think and say, why did that happen? Obviously there's something here meant for me to do. When that road was blocked and we couldn't go the normal way, immediately I recalled that conversation I had with my father. And the thought I was thinking is, why? Why did Hashem cause that we should go today a different way than we always go? And then when we passed that truck with the lady, I thought maybe that's it. So I asked you to go back. And when I found out what it is, I realized that's the Hashgacha Pratis. That was the reason why we had to take the detour today. And that's why I did what I did. So this is an interesting story about tzedakah, also a story about Hashgacha Pratis. And paying attention in life when things are a little different than you thought they would be or how you expected them to be, and realizing that at those moments you have to pay extra attention. What is the message Hashem is sending me? What is there for me to do in this particular situation, in this particular place? And this lesson is something we learned from the Rebbetzin, and we can all emulate in her ways, and thereby bring an extra aliyah to her neshama and Gan Eden. Yeah.
Rabbi,